Cleanliness and organization.
Number one thing. It's clean is good. Yeah. You know, clean, and then other thing too is when you're getting a tour and the owner like walks by people like this, and he's standing right there printing. It's, you know, you're like, oh hey Brad, what's going on? And Brad's like, oh hey Ryan, you know, like you can tell it's a good place to work, you know, versus like somebody that literally treats their people like animals, and you see the crap coming off the press because you treat somebody like crap and they're going to put crap out.
Yeah, when you see people smiling, that's usually a good sign.
Yeah, that's a good question.
How I see a successful screen shop, being a technical guy, I walk in and when I see what I've repeated before is when I see they have written procedures, they have processes, they have all these and they're written out and all their employees know what they're doing and there is smooth running. If I actually see that in their screen room, in their reclaiming, which is notoriously the part that they start people at, if I see that running smooth and that whole biggest bottleneck is there, then I know everything else is usually in place. So I can see that. I'm going to assume they have the front end taken care of if they're putting all that time in. But of course you want to check quality, you want to have print. Are they always up in their game? You might be the best one color athletic printer. If that's your niche, great. But are you up in your game? Are you taking the time to look at high density? Are you taking the time to look at other products, promotional products and stuff to always grow your business? That might be a mistake too some people don't do. They still stay narrow-minded and saying, everybody's there. You know, everybody's a customer.
Things that I look for in a quality print shop. When I go, again, I'm going to refer back to myself as a consultant. When I go to a shop, the first thing I want them to do is pull out the shirts that they're not happy with. What they're happy with, they're happy with. I don't need to see those. And in looking at those is where I make my evaluation of where I think the problems are. When I do a consulting job, I work with the art department first, then the screen department, and then finally the production department. Production to me is usually not the problem. It's everything that comes before them that is the problem. And there's no reason to jump to production to try and fix something if you haven't fixed it from where it actually is broken first. So, and there are certainly people who are better printers than others, there's no question about it. But the print is usually not the biggest issue. It's usually selections and decisions made before it came out, on mesh counts, on the way the artwork was set up. A lot of printers have artists that have graphic degrees, but in school they don't teach screen printing, they teach graphic designing for paper, not the same thing. And so the way they set up their artwork is wrong. They force you into flashing a lot, they force you into the wrong color order, and that all creates a downside on the finished product.
Owner's ability to listen probably has more to do with it than anything. If a customer comes in and says, I want this, this, and this, if the owner or the screen print manager starts saying, we're going to do it this way, this way, this way, this way, they're not listening to the customer. So you don't really develop top-notch work. So if the staff and the owner and the management listen to their customer, I'm going to say that's probably the biggest telltale for having good product go out the door.
Is usually that people are hustling. Like you'll see everything's in motion efficiently, not crazy. There's a difference. There's like frantic and there's like systematic movement. And you can kind of tell the difference. It's like one place they're tango dancers and one place they're punk rock dancers or something. And even punk rocker oriented people sometimes work with precision, and you can kind of see that everything is moving, but it's moving in a synchronized way, and that usually tells me. And then the real main thing is I want to see the results. Let's see the shirt that's coming down the belt right now, not the one you worked on for 4 weeks just to have one sample. And then let's see a whole bunch of samples. Usually I just show me your work, let's see what you're doing. And there's no proof that you're a good print shop like that. You can have the fanciest equipment, you can have the fanciest customers even, but I want to see the prints. Like, let's see the print that's coming down the belt now. So that shows what you're doing every day, and let's see your best prints, and let's see a lot of them.
First of all, organization. Now, organization doesn't mean it has to be neat. You can have an organized shop that's cluttered, but you want to have processes that are in place. We want to have, if I pick up paperwork, and I can see all the information is there and the information is correct and people have signed off. There's been checkpoints and things along the way, milestones that have been recorded. That tells me that you've got somebody that understands that this is a process. And duplication of the process is what gets you to profitability faster than anything.
I've used restaurant analogies through my entire writing career. And I've never worked in a restaurant, but the whole idea of the tireless, never-ending, mundane work of working in a professional restaurant, the one thing that I hear from every restaurateur, because now every big restaurateur that's famous talks about working clean. If you clean up as you're working, and because you've got health and food inspectors that you'll literally be in huge amounts of problems if you don't work clean. So I'd say if I walk into a shop and it's clean and organized, if the tools are organized, somebody was thinking, and there's a real process about that.
Well, the shirts would tell me their quality, and a lot of times when I do consulting, I might say, would you send me a couple of shirts first so I can see what you're doing? The cleanliness of the shop, the organization. I think the people, because you walk around when you consult, my buddy Richard Greaves is hanging out here behind us, and he's done a lot of consulting. I've done it. You walk into a shop and you immediately find out that maybe the problem is even the person that hired you. He brought you in to help clean things up and maybe get things going, and you find out that maybe he's the problem. Or maybe it's the screen room. You've got a stubborn screen maker who's been there for years. I was in a shop in Texas where I think the lady had been there 30 years, and she was dictating mesh counts, and it was just, she was wrong, but she had been there so long that nobody had the guts to say, you know, it's time to get somebody else here, because she was very organized and all that. But you walk into a shop, and if it's really dirty and unorganized and not well kept, you know, you walk into an ink room, and if it looks like you just splattered spaghetti everywhere, or it's nice and tidy, it tells you a whole lot about the company, about the pride of ownership, I think. But the people, when you find people don't seem to care, they're not, you know, the catchers aren't really caring, you know, nobody really cares. The boss is a jerk, but the boss is always a jerk. You know that a lot of times you're the bad guy no matter what.